Hey there, this is John and Frank from Greyline Investments. Today we're going to be talking about how we think you could invest your stimulus check if you wanted to, if you want some real estate investing advice. Hopefully you get some actionable takeaways. How you doing today, Frank?
I'm good. I confess, I didn't get a stimulus check, but if I did, I would get a PS5. So I confess I'd be irresponsible with mine.
There you go. And we were talking earlier about how much the stimulus check is. I thought it was $600, but I was at the barber shop this weekend, and I've got 4 kids. I've got a big family, but I think it was like $3,000 or something I got. Maybe it wasn't quite that much, but the receipt on my ATM, I was like, there's not supposed to be that much money in my account.
You got $3,000? I thought they were mulling over a $2,000 stimulus. So
it may have been $2,000. I don't know, but it was larger than I thought it was going to be.
Well, congrats. You're a thousandaire.
There you go. Okay. So yesterday I did a video about how you could get started real estate investing with $0 down. So for this discussion, let's say it's like $1,000, $2,000 in that range. You know, let's just start with the broad question. How do you get started in real estate with $1,000, Frank?
I think it would look like if you were trying to get into the off-market space. I'll assume that you're trying to do off-market deals to answer the question.
Do you have to, right? Like if you only got $1,000, is that a fair assumption?
If you only have $1,000, I don't know if that completely discriminates you from in the MLS space. It's going to be difficult to take a deal down alone. You could work on finding deals with agents and bring the deal to somebody and have them fund a massive portion of it. If you're a veteran, you could do a VA loan, but your options, I think, on the MLS are limited. Like I'm struggling to come up with examples.
All right. I think we're aligned there, right? So if you only have $1,000, not impossible, but most likely you need to find an off-market deal. So I think our discussion is probably going to be, how do you find an off-market deal for $1,000?
Yeah. I think it would look similar to how Greyline, our company, started. When we first got going, we were looking for deals, couldn't find any through agents. We said, hey, let's just hustle, right? Let's hustle. I think a rule of thumb is the less money you have, if you're trying to find deals, the more hustle you got to do, right? On one end of the spectrum, if you got $100,000 in your bank account, maybe in your market, you could spend tens of thousands of dollars and dominate pay-per-click, right? And get your name to the top of Google. You could, right? And then maybe that works, but that's expensive, right? If you need to have $1,000, that's all you got, then what I would do, go into PropStream, which is the tool we use, pull out a list. Maybe it's one list. Maybe in your city, there's 10,000 absentee landlords, right? Maybe it's 5,000. Start there, spend a couple $100s to get the data. You're going to skip trace it. You get the phone numbers, and you could text. But I actually think if you're just starting out for the first time, if you have the time, get over your fear of talking to people and cold call, at least the first 100 people. Just call. I think over time, as people scale, you'll eventually delegate that task to someone, hopefully, if you're successful. But I think most people are scared to talk to people on the phone and make offers because it's embarrassing. It feels like confrontational, and it's tough. So I think it's good to get over that hurdle. So if you're just starting and you have limited cash, that's what I would advise.
I like it. I like it. I feel like we kind of sound like broken records sometimes because we keep going back to the same stuff, but It works, right? It definitely works. So let's try to be granular for a second and say okay, someone says, I want to take this $1,000 and I want to invest it exactly like you're telling me. I want to go get a list. I want to text that list. I want to call that list. Let's start out with where should they look, right? Where should someone invest in off-market properties, Frank?
Well, it depends. If you want to invest where you live, some people have the preference. They want to be able to see the house in person. Some people like us, they'll go virtual. I think me personally, if I don't have a ton of money, I want to go into a market that is heavily populated with other landlords. In markets where homes can cash flow, I think, at least in my experience, it's much easier to find a deal in a market where you have a lot of tired landlords or people that have owned homes for 10 years plus. They're not managing it correctly and they want to dump that property off, right? Maybe you have to buy it, put a little bit of work into it, and just re-rent it. But there's tired landlords are a great persona to pitch to or to sell to, I think. And also, if you get into a city like New York, where it's extremely difficult from a capital perspective to get a home, it's very expensive. Someone who's lending to you, even if you get a great lender that's willing to give you 100% of the purchase price, if they're underwriting you and then they look at your bank account and there's only $1,000 in it, like they're not going to give you $5 million, right? So just be realistic. Get the $100,000 home, the $150,000 home, maybe less, and cap that on your list. Target absentee landlords. Now I'm getting a little bit more specific, and cold call. Like that's how I would start.
So I'm originally from a small town in northern Michigan. So if I still live there, I'd be like, hey, there's, I don't know if there's a lot of landlords around here, but it's a small town. What advice would you give me? How do I know what town has a lot of landlords? Where should I look?
I mean, we pull that data and we just did it. You can scrub apps like PropStream. You could pull those lists. We took, I think we said at the beginning, I think it was high equity, out of state owner. We put all those filters on it. And I would take that number in the top 5 cities that you're interested in and divide it by the total population of homes, right? And that's what we did for Q1, because we're good at targeting absentee owners and tired landlords. And we landed on Tyler, Texas, and College Station. Over, in some cases, we preferred that to cities like Austin. In Austin, we've predicted it's going to be a little bit more difficult to acquire a home because it's hot. And in the absentee landlord cities, it might be a little easier for us. So we're going to get more contracts per outbound message in those cities. So I kind of went a roundabout way there, but I hope that made sense.
Yeah, I think to reemphasize, we talk about PropStream all the time, but PropStream is such a powerful platform. And then once you put those filters in, you can type in different cities. We should do a video on PropStream, like our kind of PropStream overview tutorial. It's such a powerful thing. But okay, so let's say you put some filters in. Let's say you pick Tyler, Texas, right? So you put Tyler, Texas. You put some filters in to give you tired landlords, and you end up with 7,000 landlords, right? Like PropStream saying, hey, there's 7,000 landlords here. Then what?
So then you pull that list, and you can use a number of different tools to get their contact information, aka skip tracing, because you want to get their phone numbers. Maybe their email address is included in that information. That's great, because then you can have an email campaign as well. And you pull that information. You can use PropStream to do that. You can use Lead Sherpa. There's like a lot of different skip tracing services out there, but we've used PropStream and Lead Sherpa in our business to make that work. So then you'll use your skip trace services. That'll give you a nice Excel sheet or CSV with all the property addresses, the owner information, where they currently live, their mailing address, their phone number, maybe their email. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. And hopefully that list is accurate. Now, I don't think any list is 100% accurate. So anyone out there who gets frustrated in their first push, in their first marketing campaign, if you don't get a response rate of 90%, like don't be shocked. That's not going to happen, right? I think a good number for accuracy on skip tracing is like anywhere between like 70 to 80% will be amazing, right? So that's what people should expect. But you'll do that. And in my case, go ahead.
One thing we didn't cover, I think I said 20,000 landlords, tired landlords in Tyler, but I need to remember we're only working with $1,000 here. So how much does it cost to skip trace and to kind of export that data?
I think what is it?
It's usually 15 cents or so to skip trace, and we usually account for 5 cents to export. So quick math is 20 cents. So if we had 20,000, that would cost us roughly $1,000 to skip trace and kind of export, right? So we could have 20,000 people, but once we do that, we spend our $1,000. Let's say we've got a couple hundred more, right? Like we just start calling. 20,000 is a lot of people.
I advise people to call at the beginning to get over it, right? Like go through some cold leads and get those butterflies out of your stomach immediately, right? But if yes, 20,000 is a lot, right? So then I think you have 2 options if you want to get through that list before the end of 2021, right? I think you either have a buddy or a virtual assistant help out, right? And take some of that burden off of you. So delegate, I guess is what I'm saying there. But in the path that we chose, we also used SMS or Lead Sherpa in that case back then to actually automate the sending of text messages to all those different numbers. And like for context, you could send theoretically like 100,000, 200,000 texts in a month more if you wanted to. So you would be able to get through that 20,000 person list in really a couple of days if you were working hard at it and manage all those responses.
Nice. No, I like that. So you recommend calling, and when someone's calling, you recommend just using their phone or using a platform, or how's that work?
Oh, for managing the phone calls? Yeah. I mean, you get a dialer, right? We have like Mojo Dialer, we have CallRail. So you don't use your personal phone number and people don't, knock down your door. I've been bad about that in times. Like I've been.
You never use CallRail or anything.
Well, it's been a while since I've been involved in like the cold calling part of acquisitions, right? So I was one of the first people in our company to step out of that role. But it has bit me in the past where like my number's been like listed on stuff over our company's publications. And there have been weeks where I had to like rein it in because I was getting phone calls a lot. So don't do what I did. Use CallRail or use another application so that your personal number doesn't get hit.
Nice. This is our mid-talk commercial where I'm supposed to remind everybody, if you are enjoying this conversation, please go ahead and smash that like button, hit subscribe, tag a friend, do all those awesome things so lots of people see this. One thing you haven't said yet, Frank, is Ringless voicemail. What are your thoughts on Ringless voicemail?
I like Ringless voicemail. I think it's a great option. I tend to think that people respond to text at a higher rate. I think as time goes on too, I think a generational behavior is like me, when I get a voicemail, like I loathe getting a voicemail. And like if it's a telemarketing voicemail, I feel like I'm much less likely to respond to that via text. So I think over time, like that behavioral pattern will continue to take hold. But do I think it's a great follow-up option if you've already sent the text or maybe you've already called, right? And then the next step in your marketing process is to drop them a Ringless voicemail, then yeah, like definitely. I think if you have the money to set aside for it, that's great.
Nice. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't love Ringless voicemail. Actually, when we started, I hated Ringless voicemail. I was like, I don't want to do this. It's crap. We'll spend $1,000 and we'll see if we get any leads. And we got a bunch of leads, and we're like, I guess we got to keep doing this. And we see leads like that. I don't know if I only had $1,000 or $2,000. I don't know if I'd get Lead Sherpa, just because the platform's awesome and there's a lot of other awesome text platforms out there. But I think I would try. We've used a company called Drop Cowboy before. Where Drop Cowboy, the interface isn't great, but it's really good at pushing out Ringless voicemails or pushing out text messages, and it's a really low cost. So I think if we got 20,000 people, that costs us $1,000. Let's say we got $2,000 stimulus check, right? So we got another $1,000. I think I would probably blast text messages to the entire list. That would probably be, like $200 or $300, and I would do a Ringless voicemail and a text to all those through a platform like Drop Cowboy. So that's $1,400, and we could text and RVM 20,000 people. I would do that first. And I think if I was just getting started and it was just my stimulus check, I wouldn't worry about masking my number or anything like that. I just use my phone number and be like, screw it, let's see how it goes, right?
Oh, I would.
Yeah.
I'm kind of lazy like that.
You'll close 50 plus deals without masking your phone number.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. Let's not talk about it online. So anyway, the other thing we're kind of leaving out is the organic, like free stuff that I would definitely encourage. Like one thing is like get on other wholesalers' buyers lists, go into Facebook groups, like in the city you're operating in. I'm part of the Savannah Real Estate Investors Network, right? I go into that group. If I said, hey, I'm really good at dispositioning or selling deals, right? Send me your deals. I'll help you. I'll JV on them with you, right? You're at least going to get some exposure to deals. If they're good deals or not, you don't really know, right? But those to me are similar to a hot lead, right? You could close it. So I would look at it like that. And then in the market you're in, try to get a CSV or a spreadsheet of all the FSBOs or failed listings, right? Like that could be dirt cheap. I think you just use Fiverr to pay people like $50 total for a couple lists.
That was supposed to be our secret, Frank. We're not supposed to share that with the world.
All right, cool.
I'm just joking. No, absolutely.
They advertise. People know what that is.
I'm joking. All right. Yeah. So for $23, this is a test. I don't know if it'll work, but in Zillow, you can go to for sale by owners, and then you have to click a couple times to get their phone numbers. And we call those people. But I'm doing a test right now. A guy on Fiverr I found for $23 is pulling every FSBO, every for sale by owner in the entire state of Texas for me. And if it works, we're gonna do multiple states once a month and pound it. So
you could argue you might as well do the entire country if you for $25 to get Texas. Yes. You might as well do the whole US, honestly.
For sure. I think we might. We'll see how it goes.
yeah, let's see.
I think FSBO's on Zillow. I think Craigslist is still a place too, right? Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, you can find deals as well.
Yeah, definitely. Facebook Marketplace. It's tough though. I mean, I find with Craigslist and Facebook, with listing properties and looking for stuff, there's tons of content out there, but like the leads you get and the conversations you have tend to be tough, or just maybe not. The leads aren't as good, I guess is my point.
No, I got you. And what about if you have $2,000, should you look at coaching or a paid course, or should you just stick to YouTube University? What are your thoughts there?
I think you definitely do YouTube University and like absorb as much free content as possible. I think you have to, before anyone gets coaching, you got to read a couple books. Like get a baseline and start investing in yourself with your own time, the things that you can control before you go to a guru, because you're not going to be able to recognize like the fake teachers and gurus from the real ones if you have no clue what you're doing whatsoever. So like get a month or two of like real work, like actual work, before you give someone $2,000 or in some cases $10,000 to teach you how to do stuff. Like maybe close one deal first, because otherwise like there's a lot of sharks out there that I don't think you can trust, not to be negative. And if you do it right away, I think you could be a victim to some predatory coaching practices.
Gotcha. We got to cover driving for dollars quick, and then we'll get off the acquisitions. But I think the hardest part here is finding deals. That's why we spent the majority of the time while finding deals. Driving for dollars, what do you think?
I think if you live in the market you're investing in, I think it's, you're going to get less leads, but I think each one individually could be higher quality. I know, people use Deal Machine, which is a pretty cool driving for dollars application. You can turn it on while you're driving around in your car. You can, hone in on the house you're looking at. Maybe the house is in disrepair. You're in the front lawn. You take a picture. It automatically uploads it into the tool, and you can link that information directly to a direct mail campaign inside the app. So you can basically take the picture, and it will ask you, do you want to send a postcard to this homeowner to see if they want to sell their house? You click yes, boom. They charge you. I forget what they charge. I think if you are living in the market you're in, do it. You might only be able to send out the first month a couple hundred postcards max, because it's just time consuming. But if you get one deal out of that effort, that'll pay for itself. You make 10 grand off of driving around, sending 100 postcards. It's good margins.
No, I like it. And then if you do talk to a seller and they aren't interested in selling, what is that? Like, let's say this person with the stimulus check is looking to wholesale. What price point do they have to be at?
Oh, in terms of like your max offer? Yeah. I think in most of the markets we operate in, we do 70% minus rehab value. And I like the simplicity of that, because if you're going to train an acquisitions team down the road of how to underwrite your deals, you don't want to give them like a crazy math equation with derivatives and like all this other crap, right? So like just give them something simple, or else you can't scale complexity, if it's too complex, or it's difficult to, in my opinion. Also, I like that number because on homes priced between 80 grand and 250 grand, like that, if you hit that threshold, you can probably burr that property or flip it, So it's good. It's flexible. I would say if you live in a super expensive market, like New York, California, and whatever, the coastal cities, then like maybe you can creep it up. Maybe it's 75%, right? If you're flipping mansions, maybe it's 80%, right? So it's not a hard and fast rule. It's a general guideline, right? Like the higher in class in homes you go, I think you can tweak it a little bit.
Gotcha. So everything we've covered so far, I'm like, I'm ready to crush, right? Like, no problem. I'm not scared. Let's do this. The next part scares me though. So I want to hear how you answer it. Like, what if I get someone, I found $100,000 house, seller's like, hey, give me 60 for it and I'll take it. Where do I sign? You're like, I don't know. Where's my contract? How do I get a contract? How do I feel confident using that contract? How do I know what all that boilerplate stuff actually means?
I would. There's got to be a wholesaler out there that can just share their contract with you. Like I've shared our contracts with people numerous times. Rich Hansen, if he's watching, I think his first deal he used our contract. So I mean, there's got to be someone in your network that has them, and I would keep that document very simple. Like when I see wholesalers on cash deals get this like 4 to 7 page purchase agreement that's got all these crazy, like, make the disclosures you need to, right? But keep that thing simple. Like, this is a cash deal. The seller wants to move quickly. Don't scare them off, right? Do what you need to do, but keep that thing 1 to 2 pages if you can. That's my personal opinion.
Gotcha. So you get it under contract, you feel good there. How do you sell this deal? If you're looking to wholesale, how do you find a buyer? Especially like, if you send all those RVMs and text messages, you're about out of money, right? So how do you find a buyer with no money?
Yeah. Well, one, I want to say one thing. If you did 20,000 outbound 20,000 outbound messages,
yeah,
you should feel confident you're going to get a deal, right? Like, I think at that number, you should, as long as the data you have was correct, you should close the deal. So whoever's listening.
That was going to be my question to you at the end. It's like, do you think this is possible? And I'm like, so someone gives me $1,000 and, or over $1,000, right? Because we're going to hit up 20,000 people. But if you give me the opportunity to hit up 20,000 people with RVMs and text message, we are definitely closing a couple deals.
Yeah, like exactly. So I wanted to say that, like, you should close one unless you get unlucky, but that would be an anomaly in my opinion. Anyway, how do you sell it? So I think if you're brand new, no experience whatsoever, JVing, I think JVing is a great option, right? If you're not going to spend money on your own marketing for disposition and you don't have a friend that's going to buy the deal from you or a close acquaintance, like, don't be scared to just raise your hand and be like, I got a great deal. I need help, right? I'll give you, some people do 50-50, right? If they're inexperienced, they'll say, you sell the deal, I'll give you 50% of the profits. What we do is we'll say, hey, we'll give you anything on top of our purchase price. So if we get a home locked up or we're marketing the home at $100,000 and the agent or the JV partner we have gets it sold at 105, that $5,000 is theirs. It's deal to deal though. If a deal's a little thinner, right? And like, I'll be like, I'll give you $1,000 if you close it at our price. It just depends situationally how much demand there is for the house. But don't be afraid to partner with an agent or another wholesaler. The other thing I would say is while you're in PropStream, like, pull a cash. It's not expensive to pull a cash buyers list. So hopefully you got maybe $100, $200 lying around. Pull a cash buyers list. And if you got no money left, you can cold call at least the highest volume actors in that market, right? You're going to be able to sort them by, this person's done 100 deals in the last 5 years. This person's done 20. Like, start there, talk to those people, call them. And then once you get down to the bottom of the list, and it's only 2 flips in a year, maybe you stop, right? Yeah. At that point, if you haven't sold it and you've invested a whole week in selling that deal, maybe the deal's not that good, Yeah,
I think you can do the same thing with agents too. You can pull agent info on PropStream. You could also just go on Zillow and, if you're in Omaha, Nebraska, you can, find an agent in Omaha and call them and say, hey, I'm a wholesaler. I got this deal. You know anyone that wants to buy it? And 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to blow you off a little bit. But 1 out of 10, they're going to be like, what's the address? What do you got it for? Like, what's the situation? Remember, like, sometimes in the investor world, agents get a bad reputation because a lot of agents don't understand investments, right? Or I should rephrase that. A lot of agents don't understand how investment properties are traded, and they try to say you need an agent in every single transaction, but the bottom line is you don't. But anyways, there are some agents that specialize it and can really help you move properties. Yeah,
we just had. We're going to get paid tomorrow on a flip that we just did. We acquired the home subject to, and the agent walked through the home, and I was like, hey, I don't need this thing to be at the top of the market value to make a profit. Like, what's it worth today, right? And she essentially gave us the current assessment. She helped us scope out the rehab. Like, this is what you should do to get to the price, I think, where you're going to make the most money. and she actually like found the trades, like because some of the stuff was like she's like you don't need a GC, you just need like one or two things. She sourced those trades, and then it was on the market for 1 day, and it sold the list. And we're gonna make we only own the home for like 70 days, and we're gonna make a good amount of money on it. And obviously, I'm gonna use her again, So like they're out there, but they are hard to find. I think I've spoken to many agents this year, and I've settled on like 3 to 5 in the markets we do most of our flips in, and I feel great about them. But there's some trial and error for sure.
For sure. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. We're pushing after 25 minutes now. Here at Greyline Investments, our mission, our goal, our vision is to improve lives through real estate. Frank, how are we trying to improve lives through real estate?
I mean, I think there's a few ways we offer deals. Like I think that's like the most important way to improve life is offer great deals. We also offer a mastermind, the Greyline Mastermind. We meet once a week. We're full of like-minded people that are trying to grow their portfolios and just crush it in real estate. I actually make myself available every Thursday for coaching to those in the mastermind because like my goal, like I've said in this before, want to have the best $200 a month mastermind in the country. I want to offer as much value as we can. People need lending help, like underwriting their deals, helping dispo deals, JVing. Like once you're in our umbrella, like we're here to help, right? We've already had members buy our deals. We've had them source money. People who have never done an off-market transaction before are coming up with 100, 150 grand, cash to close in their deals. Like this is all happening like super fast. So it's exciting, man. I think what I said is kind of self-explanatory. Like we're putting people into action and they're making money, right?
For sure. Yeah. For sure. I think and if you're not sure what action to take today, but it sounds interesting, just make sure you get on our email list. So shoot us an email, shoot the page an email or a Facebook message that says, I want to be on your email list. Go to Greyline Investments, Greyline Home Buyers, Greyline Academy. Get on our email list so then you can kind of get in that world and see the stuff we're putting out and see if you're interested. Any final words for this awesome Tuesday, Frank?
No, man. Just go out there and crush it. We still got 4 days left in the week, or 3.5, I guess, the work week. So kill it.
Awesome. Thanks. Happy Tuesday. Crush those 2021 goals. Take care.